You guys able to see my screen? Type yes. Type yes. You are able to see my screen, guys. Okay, great. Okay, great, guys. Welcome, each one of you. Okay, and then we move towards our next session. Okay, where today we'll be speaking about decision making unit and competition analysis. Okay, so far if you see, right, we are getting more specific, right? So first we worked on the mindset for the first 2 days, working on niche and all those things. Then after mindset we started moving towards the value part, where we started working on the value creation. Okay, and then we started working on the customer part. Okay, that who is a customer, and then what are his needs of the customer, the basic value what the customer is looking out for. Okay, so what we are doing from internal to external, right, is what we are moving up. Okay, and then at the end we'll close this whole loop, ending back to us. Okay, so this is what we'll be doing today. We'll be working on the decision making unit. Okay, and competition analysis. Okay, so let's move forward as planned. Okay, so what is today's agenda? Today agenda will be who will make decision for my service. Okay, I want to give some kind of service. Maybe I am doing an online class, or maybe I have a business. Okay, I want to sell some product. Who is going to make that decision? Okay, and how many types of decision makings are there? Okay, and then once, if there might be one or multiple decision makers, but then if I have such situation, whom should I target, Abhishek? Whom should I target? Okay, should I target this person, that person? Because just for making one decision, if I have to reach to three people, right, it is cost, the cost is high. Okay, the marketing cost shoots up. Okay, but is there a way where we can find out a solution for that? This is what we're looking out. Then following by that, we'll move on to the next topic, where we'll say who is my competition, right? So definitely, right, in this world there is nothing or no other product or service which doesn't have a competition. You go to any field, okay, right from shoes to laptop to mobile, any industry, right, you have competitors. Okay, and then we'll check whether competitors are good for you or bad, right? And then following by that, we'll see what the competition does. Okay, how can we stand out from the competition, so that people, even if we are new, people come to us, right, is what we'll be looking out. And then what we'll do, we'll conclude with today's small task. Okay, so great. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, who is the decision maker, Abhishek? Right, this is what most of the people keep asking me. I have my customers as students, but parents give money. My customers are college students, or the college, but college teachers, but the decision maker is the principal. Okay, so I want to sell my uh, product to a gym service. Okay, gym service, but the decision maker, I want to give a personal training to to a person who is working in a gym, but the decision making, their authority is there with the gym owner. Okay, all those things. Okay, it is basically a love triangle of money, right? Love triangle of money, right? It's like when you want to get married. Sorry, I'm coming up with marriage example again and again, right? So it is not about the boy or girl who decides. Like their family, okay, their friends, and then their brothers, sisters who make all the decision, and ultimately the decision is taken. Okay, but in this case, what happens is, when you have multiple people, right, multiple people have multiple opinions. Okay, multiple opinions. Okay, then there is a challenge of coming all of them on the same page, right? Coming to getting them on the same page, because how one value is perceived by one person is not the same way it is being perceived by the other person, right? So for example, just to give you, right, if the what you can say, school uniform makes a lot of meaning for a student, because you know that if I don't get school uniform, people will see me like odd, because I am the odd one out. Okay, but maybe for the college, for his parents, right, they may feel that one day it's okay, right? One day you don't have dresses, right? It's okay, you wear some normal dress and go, right? So the desires, the need of each individual is different, and then more the number of people included in the decision making, it gets more complex. But then there is always, as I said, that there is a solution for all the problem in this world. Okay, and then we'll be seeing how, if that kind of situation comes to you, how you're going to solve it. Okay, so if you see that there's just one veto power decision making, and then there are so many people around it, right? So many people around it, right? So what are the type of decision makers? Okay, so there might be a single decision maker, or there might be primary and secondary influencers or decision makers. Okay, now what do I mean by single or one decision maker and a primary and secondary influencer or decision maker? Okay, so let's see this in detail. These are basically two types of decision makers, right? So let's understand very simple, okay, with an example. Okay, so let us say there is, what is the meaning of single decision maker? So basically we call him as both user and champion. Okay, now why? Because the person who is going to use is the user. Okay, this guy is the only user. Okay, this guy also has that money to buy it. Okay, and this guy also has an authority, right? He has an authority that to make decisions. Okay, just to give an example, let us take an example of an Abhishek. So what is the profession of persona basically of Abhishek? This is where I said, right, this is why we did persona. This is why we did persona yesterday. Okay. Okay, Abhishek is a working profession. If Abhishek is a working profession, definitely it means he is independent, right? So now what Abhishek wants to do, Abhishek wants to do an online course. Okay, so that who will be the user? Maybe Abhishek himself or somebody else also. Okay, great. Now who has the money? If Abhishek is my persona, definitely Abhishek will have money, because the persona says this is working professional, and working professional has money, right? Next, third, authority, right? So Abhishek, as he has money, right? So always when it comes to money, right, people who have money also have authority. Okay, so authority and money comes hand in hand. Okay, to only when what you can say, to a rare cases like it is very extremely important, where it is also dependent on other people. That is when authority may go in other's place. Okay, that is when authority may go in other place. Or else the person who has money generally, like in business, right, is basically the decision maker. Okay, so now Abhishek wants to do an online course. He's a working professional. So who is the user? Is Abhishek. Money is with Abhishek. Authority is Abhishek. So whom will I target? Whom will I target? Very simple. I'll target Abhishek. Okay, using his persona, I'll do it and I'll target him. Okay, so this is basically as a best case scenario. Best case scenario. Okay, I know I'm going to sell to this person. This person has money. This person has authority. This person is a user. I'll sell him because he'll understand my need very easily. If I tell him that, Abhishek, I make a targeting or marketing campaign which says that 65% of Indian population is unemployed because they don't have proper skills. Okay, are you one among them who are lacking in financial skills and you are trying to become an entrepreneur? Okay, I am 15 years specialized in financial analysis, and I help first time entrepreneurs to understand the whole business model in just 500 rupees or 499 rupees. Okay, for a 5-day class, I'm going to jump in, right? Because what you can say, that decision making is instant. Okay, most of the people, if you see, right, when you are a student, or right, when you're a student, what happens? If you want to make a decision, you have to go to some authority. But then once you are earning, right, you see something on Facebook ad or Amazon, you feel it's good, you go buy it. That is called as impulsive decision maker. So basically, single decision maker, in short, can also be considered as an impulsive decision maker who sees, analyzes, makes the decision, buys it out. Very, very small cycle of uh, decision making. Okay, this is what we call a single decision maker. Okay, let's move to the next case. So what are the primary and secondary influencers? This is second type of decision making unit. Okay, so now the person who is buying may be a user, or he may not be a user as well. He may has a money, or he may not have money also. He may have authority, he may also not have authority, right? Bit complex here. Okay, so now let's give an example. Let us say, okay, the of a small family has went to big bazaar to buy some groceries and shopping, right? So there's a kid which says that I want a toy. Okay, I want a toy. Okay, so now who is the user ultimately here? The kid is the user here, right? So the kid will be using this toys. Okay, but then, okay, who has the money? Who has the money? The money is with father or mother. Okay, both of them, let us say if they consider them as a working professionals. So if he goes with, if the whole family is went out, so basically normally we can say money is with father or mother. Okay, or both. Next, now who is the authority or influencer, right? Okay, so basically the user child. Okay, maybe money paying is the father in this case, just a scenario. Okay, but then which toy to take, okay, or not to take is decided by the mother, right? Most of them, because normally in India, right, they say that the boys are very much close to their mothers, right? And then girls are very much close to their fathers, right? So what happens here is, so if you see there is a triangle created here. Although let us say for a scenario, maybe the mother is a housemaker. Mother is a housemaker, right? And she's not earning. Okay, but still she has that decision making power in her hand, because she is now acting as an influencer. Okay, maybe the father is saying that no, you have a lot of toys at home, we will not buy it. Okay, but then the mother comes into picture, says and insists, although she is not paying the money for it, but she's an active influence. She is as good as making a decision. Okay, even if she doesn't have a money, she has that authority. Okay, or she has that power to influence the person who has money to take that money out of his pocket and buy and make that decision to buy it, right? So if you see here, there is a triangle there is a triangle which is happening, right? User is child, payer is maybe father, and then the decision maker or influencer is mother, right? So now in this case, right, in this case, how do we target them? Okay, so maybe most of them, so this specific case I have taken, so that most of them, right, would face this kind of challenge. Okay, and then you have a lot of priority, because most of the, you can also, what you can make is decision making based on the age also. Okay, but that would be very much contextual when it comes to different sectors. But I'll keep it very simple. So now what we have to do in this case, right? Should I target my father, or should I target the mother, or should I target the child, is one of the biggest question which you have. Okay, so now let's see. Okay, so now what should I do? Like, it's very simple, Abhishek. All you have to do is, we have to just establish a connection between the end user. Who's the end user? The student or the child, or end user, and the influencer or decision maker, and target them based on their need. Okay, based on their need. Okay, now I did not get it, Abhishek. Like, can you explain me it in bit detail? Okay, so let's read it again. It's very simple. Just establish a connection between the end user. End user is the child, okay, and the influencer or decision maker, and target them based on their need. Okay, now what need are we talking about? Okay, just let's see this in detail in the upcoming slides. Okay, so basically, right, so basically the end user is the child, right, and then the decision maker is the father and mother. Okay, both money and all those things. Okay, so now what is the need of a child here? The need of a child is to be happy. Okay, the need of a child is to be happy, which is emotional, if I can say, emotional factor. Okay, and then she wants to spend some time with the toys, playing cars and here and there. Okay, which basically is kind of a functional value. So students, when they are child, right, they don't care about economical value. They care only about functional value and emotional value. Emotional value, they feel is, they feel happy if they have that toy. The student, the children are happy if they have that teddy bear. I'm happy if I have that Barbie with me, right? So students, if you are targeting children, right, there are only two parameters which matter to them. One is the emotional, and another is functional. Okay, so that is the need for them. Okay, so basically, emotional is the highest trigger for children. But now, what are the parameters which will make the parents or the father or mother to take that step forward and decide that, okay, I'm going to buy this Barbie or doll or toy for my kid. Okay. So now, as I said, right, going back to the same triangle. Okay. So these people in their mind, right, in their subconscious mind, definitely they have their three parameters again. For any human need, I told you, right, any human has these three parameters: emotional, functional, economical, right? But when it comes to kids and parents, right, only two things matters. Okay, most of the time economical, maybe on their financial conditions, but as a parent, right, who is standing here, you know what he's thinking. If the child is asking him a toy, okay, parents are emotional driven towards their child, right? They want to also keep their child happy. It is also their emotional need to see that my child should be happy. So basically what you're doing, you're fulfilling their emotional need. Okay, you're fulfilling the emotional need. Okay, and then what is the second need of the parent is the functional need. Okay, functional need. Okay, so when there are small children, right, what they do lot of these things. They do a lot of these things, what you can say. I mean, they disturb them a lot, in short, right? So maybe she's a housemaker, or she's a working professional, right? So they don't have their own personal time. Most of the parents, when they have small kids, they don't have their own personal time, and due to that, what they do is, uh, uh, they cannot engage them all the time. So the functional, there's some other functional thing also which says that the functional value which you're providing to the parents is that you have that extra 1 hour time for yourself. Okay, that doesn't mean the parents doesn't love the child more. It is, but basically every individual needs at least some kind of relaxation time or some break time, right? So but these are the two main needs of a parent. Okay, one is emotional, which is always high, that they want to do any single thing before their kid. The second thing is, second priority of them is that they should get some extra time. They should get some extra time where they can have it for a personal time, right? So now how do we target them, right? So now how do we target them? Now you put a marketing strategy which says that, okay, one thing is you have to make sure that there's a balance maintained between the end user and the decision maker. Okay. Okay, it should be like 60% benefit for the decision maker and 40% for the end user, or maybe it can be 50-50, as like it is partial, right? So now you say that, does your kid spend lot of time, okay, on unnecessary things or watching TV? Okay, would you like to have some spare time for yourself? On the other hand, also make sure your child learns new thing in these initial days. Okay, so we have okay, a puzzle a puzzle which enhances your child's mindset by 3x. Okay, which in turn keeps him engaged in analyzing those things, and you have a personal time. Okay, and this costs just 399 rupees, right? So now what is it doing? See, win-win situation. You should never create a win-lose situation, right? Only so basically, when so even today, what in session we're doing is, I'm making sure that I'm also winning, you're also winning, right? If you think about that, I should get 5,000 rupees and the other person should get only 200 rupees. No, this is a win-lose situation. And when you have a win-lose situation, the transaction or the whole supply chain doesn't work. You have to create a win-win situation, right? You create win-win situation for yourself because you are getting paid for it, for your services. You create win-win situation for the parent because he also has some personal time. You also create win-win situation for the child because he's also happy because he is getting a new toy. On the other hand, the parent is also happy because he's spending time on doing something productive, right? So this is how your marketing strategy should be. Okay, great. Okay, so most of people who had doubts in, if I have multiple customers and how do I figure that out, this is a simple example which will, I hope, clears lot of your clarity. Okay, so this was the first topic today. Okay, and now let's move to the second topic. Okay, now competition, right? So most of the people, right, when they think, right, Abhishek, should you think that I should start online classes? Abhishek, do you think that people will come to me when I start a fitness classes online. Do you feel that communication is really important? And then should I really get into it? There are so many people doing it. Okay, there are so many people doing it online, and that they have been doing it from past 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? Should I really get into it? Is one of the biggest question they ask. And then you know what I tell them? I tell them that if you're still thinking whether I should do it or not, right, you don't do it. Okay, this is what brilliant, because what happens is you cannot be a dilemma. See, basically, competition is one of the best thing which can happen to you, right? Competition is one of the best thing which can happen to you, because what happens is your competition saves worth at least 20 to 50 lakh rupees of your R&D. Okay, R&D, R&D, time, resources. They save all those things for you, because when you call the person as competitor, it means that he's into this industry, he has earned some money, he has some fame. Now, what does this mean? He has validated your business idea. Okay, whatever you want to do, he has already validated it. And always remember this, guys, right? Always remember this, that the market is very, very big. Like, go back to the first session which I did on the boot camp, right? The market is very big, right? Let them cover 95%. Even if they cover 99.9%, right? You know what is that 0.01% consist of? That 0.01% consists of somewhere between 35 lakh to 50 lakh of people. Okay, and if you just serve that 0.01% people in your next 20-30 years, okay, you can become a millionaire, right? So never fear about competition. Competition is one of the best thing what you have, because you study your competition, you understand your insights, which in turn you yourself would have experienced if you did it. Okay, you try and error, right? So that would have taken a lot of time. Okay, this is one of the one thing which I did not do, and that is why I emphasize every single person to do it, right? People don't get into business. Maybe it is offline vegetable business, okay, or maybe online business, right? So there is a simple example. When you go to your sabji market, right? Sabji market, if you see, there is a woman who's selling brinjal here, and there is just 2-3 people aside, there are people selling brinjal. And then, at the end of the day, both of them sell their products and both of them make profit. Okay, just what you can say, 5 meters apart, they are making profit. Now you are targeting this huge market. When you come online, right, you have a whole population of 7 billion people all over the world. Okay, it's 7.3 almost now, right? 7.3 billion people, right? Even if you target 2% of that as your whole life journey, right, you are going to do very great impact on this world, right? So that is how it is. So never fear about competition. Competition is one of the best thing. So now, how do I analyze competition, Abhishek? Right, that will be a question, right? Okay, I understood that competition is good now. Okay, but now how do I analyze it? Okay, and how can I take benefit out of that, right? So basically, I'm going to show you a trick where you'll be saving at least a minimum 6 months to 4 years, right? Because when I started my first company, right, I built a B2B vegetable stuff, because I thought that I can help a farmer, okay, by directly getting produce from him and directly selling it to the customer, right? I made something, okay, it was just when I was like 20 years old, right? I know I built technology, but I blew it up in the big time, because it is not only about technology, it is about the whole supply chain, maintenance of supply, demand, and all those things. So we'll keep that apart. But I did not do competition analysis then. I said, when I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, right? But then you have to understand the industry standards. Basically, the major thing we do competition analysis is not to, what you can say, not to copy them, at all, because every person is unique in their own way. The only thing we do is, what is the industry standard? Right? So let us say tomorrow you want to start a car, you want to have your own manufacturing car, right? There is specifically the specific height and width of a car which is standardized by the government. If you don't know that competition or that matrix, right, you build a 15-meter car, okay, and it will never get legalized, right? So that is the reason you do a competition, so that you understand, that have an overview, right? Okay, this is how industry works, this is what they are giving, and this is how I should work. Okay, so let's get more specific about how I can leverage competition analysis for my own growth. Okay. So now what to do next from here? What to do next? Okay. So now maybe you are in communication, you are in health, okay, you are in medical field, where whichever field you are, right? In terms, right? What is the first thing you do? Google search your competition's product or service. Okay. Now what may be a competition product or service, right? It will not just be online courses. It will not, maybe your, let us say, I'll just take an example of Shweta. Okay, Shweta, who wants to help people who are now newly married and about to have a kid, right? So who is the competition for Shweta, who is going to serve new parents who are about to become who are about to become new parents, maybe in next 3 to 6 months of time? Who is their competition? First thing, okay, their competition may be doctors, okay, because that is where most of them go. Competition with doctors. Their competition might be YouTubers, because people start putting trash on YouTube, right? Okay, whatever. There are good people, but there are also people who are not experts who start giving their opinions there. Okay, there might be books. Books can also be the competitors, right? Because what happens, ultimately your customer should get the problem solved. They do not care if it gets solved by a book, if it gets solved by Shweta, or if it gets solved by YouTube. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to at least find 5 people, okay, who are doing these things. Maybe you go online course, go to Udemy, go to Coursera, see about all these things, get some search for top 5 books for new parents, people are about to become new parents. Okay, you search about that. What you do, you go read their preference, read the first page, read the last page, see what are they giving. Okay, basically they have a gist. They have a gist of all those things, right? In this book you will cover this. Okay, now what you do, you after that, what you do, you check their value offerings. What are they offering in this book? What is that offering there in this YouTube video? What are they offering in this Udemy course? What are they offering in this 5-day class? Okay, what are they offering in this offline class? Write down 5 points on each competition. So 5 competitions into 5 points, you get 25 points, right? Okay, so now you have idea that, okay, I wanted to teach parents how to maybe like be healthy, but then when I did competition, I understood that it should not just be how to be healthy at this point of time. It is also about the new technologies in terms of becoming mother, the new technologies which are coming up, and what are the new things which are coming up, right? So what, there will be different types of things which are coming up, or new trending things, right? This also should be in my offering, okay, because you have to go with the industry standards. Okay, now you write down 25 points. Okay, 25 points from five points from 5 different competitors, you get 25 points. Okay, now third thing, check their pricing and marketing strategies. Okay, now how do you check them? Pricing, very easy. You go to course, you see the price, you see the course price, you write it down. So you'll have 5 prices, you write it down. Okay, next what you do, marketing strategies. How do you see marketing strategies, right? Read their short or big descriptions. Okay, if you go to Amazon, read their book. There will be short 5 to 10 lines reviews. Okay, not the customer reviews, what the author has given. In this book you will read this. If you go to course, top 5 things you will get in this course. Okay, if you go to YouTube video, okay, see their tagline, what is they are giving. So these are some of the marketing strategies. So after having these things, you know that basically now you earlier you have a 360-degree view where you'll see, okay, this might be possibility, I'll put the marketing strategy like this, I'll put a marketing strategy like this, right? No, now what happens, it removes your at least 270 degree of your things, and you say that, okay, this 90 degrees where I have to play, right? Because this should be the offering, this is an industry standard, and this is how most of the people are putting it forward. Okay, you write down the marketing strategies. Now what you do, take some time to analyze. When you write all those things, right? Okay, switch off your phone. Okay, leave it. Okay, and then sit in a peaceful room. You sit there and you see the whole thing again, at least for 10 times. You sit and see all those things. Okay, this guy is giving it, basically analyzing it, right? Like who said it? Sherlock Holmes, right? We have to become Sherlock Holmes because we don't have money. We have our head. Okay, we have to just use our head. Sit there analyze this person is giving these things at this price, this person is giving this thing at this offerings, this price. We have all those 5 things. Okay, then what you write this thing on the right hand side. What you do is you say, what are the top 5 things I can do from all these 25 offerings? Okay, prioritize. Same thing. What you can, how do you prioritize? You can use the same template which I've given you, right? All those 25 things. Okay, you have your own set of parameters. What is the need now? And that you you prioritize 5 points. Now these 5 points, you write it down. And now what you have to do is, this 5 point has to be so contextual. You change it, right? Where you put your expertise there. Now, how do you put your expertise there? You put your passion there, right? Now, how do you put your passion there? You certainly, if you are getting into that, right? You are getting into that. Definitely, you have your tons of experience. When I talk about entrepreneurship, when I talk about technology, right? I have a 15 years of experience in technology, more than 4 or 5 years of into entrepreneurship, right? Put that, bring that experience and create that 5 points, right, which you have. Okay, you put it, bring your experience, that what are the best things you have learned in these 5 points on your experience, which can add tons of value to the customer. Okay, and that is what becomes your point of differentiation, because now you are following industry standards. Okay, but then you are unique because your experience is unique. Nobody can copy your experience, right? Nobody can copy your experience. And then that experience you write, when you write it down, that is your unique tagline. That is a unique tagline. Okay, and then that's it. So once you have your point of differentiation, that this is what unique I am. Okay, this is a combination of niche clarity. This is what I'm expertising, right? So you bring that experience there, you put it. Okay, then you can clear cut see your offerings, that okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do. Okay, this is what I'm going to do for next 10 days, 15 days, or 1 month course. Okay, and then you get your path clear, right? And then the last option is just let's rock and roll your offerings and then start marketing, right? Right. So now I'll give a small template about competitive positioning. Okay, that how do you compare yourself? So basically, if you just write on the paper, right, you there will be point of these things, right? How should I validate? How should I measure that if I am good than other people or not? Okay, if I'm good then other people or not. Okay, so basically what you do, you create a four boxes here. Okay, and then there is priority 1, there is priority 2. As I told you, right, every customer will have their priorities. Okay, it is very contextual. That is why I have not put an example here. Okay, so I'll just take an example of the same thing of health. Okay, when the parent people who are about to become new parents, right, what is their first priority? Okay, their first priority is safety. First and foremost priority is safety. Okay, okay. And what is the second priority? Second priority comes is money, right? So these two things. Okay, so now what you do on the priority 1 part, right, you write safety. On the priority 2 you write money. And then what you do, you find your five competitors and then you rate them. Okay, which guy is giving safety what you can say tips, okay, but he's charging less money. So you write it in the third quadrant. Okay, less money. Okay, which person is giving good quality, I mean what you can say, higher safety, and then on a certain level, right, he's also giving less price. It comes on the fourth quadrant. Okay, in the same way, what you have to do is ultimately you have to be good in both priority 1 and priority 2. So when I say that star mark you, right, that is where you have to stand out, because now you can analyze that you have analyzed this 5 competition. It is like basically XY plotting, right? You see their values, you give your marks to them. Okay, for example, fitness training. Okay, fitness training should not normal cost is 5,000 rupees. That guy is charging 10,000 rupees. Okay, so what is the priority to money, right? So there I'll put it in bad, because 10,000 rupees is bad. Okay, so in the same way, what you have to do is you have to use this template. Okay, do your competition analysis. Okay, and then you mark them on all these points. Okay, once you mark them all these points, then you see that which people are lacking there, because definitely there is a gap. Definitely there is a gap. That is when where we see the opportunity. Where there is a broken bridge, you have to build that bridge, and you get that money, or you get your paid customer, because that person wants to cross that bridge. Okay, and then you know where is that gap, and you are filling it, that right. And also that is when the person will come and pay for you. Okay, so that is what you have to do. I'll also share this template with all of you guys. Okay, so coming to end of today's session, what is today's task? Find your decision maker. Okay, find your decision maker. Next, how do you find your decision maker? I have told you the whole process. In that, what you do is, yesterday I have already shared you a template, right? I have already shared you a template. Okay, use that template. Just below that, go and add decision maker. Okay, and then you just write who is the decision maker. Is it self or other person? You write their name, press enter, then say what are his value systems, what is his need. Okay, and write 2-3 points on his value system. Okay, so after that, what you have to do is you have to do competition analysis for your product. Okay, so you go, as I told you, all the processes which I told you earlier. You have to go down and you have to do all those things. Okay, so I'll just show you the first thing, that is how to find your decision maker. Okay, using a template. Yesterday I had already shared your template, right? I'll just search for that. Okay. Okay, this is my template, isn't it? So here what you have to do is just come down. Let's put a level editing. Right. So now what is this? Right. So for this, right, for this particular stuff, right, we were targeting the team lead at IT company. So now who will be a decision maker? The decision maker is self here. Right, he is self. Okay, and then his needs are same as persona, right? This is because I have the same persona, because he has the ultimate power. But then if you want to do it for the third three parties, where you love triangle for decision making, the decision maker here may be father or mother, and then the needs for them, as I said, that the first need for them was emotional, which was like making sure that kid is happy. That is an emotional need. Second thing is functional need, to get some spare time. Okay, so you have to write this down in just, you have to just add to this two statements, 2-line statements into your persona, and you have to save it. Okay, so that's it, guys. That is when we come to the today's session. Okay, and then I'm open for any of your questions.